to have the best physical, mental, spiritual, Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Very overwhelming. So there's a lot of cool things that I'm getting done, and a lot of cool concepts that I'm working on, and with not only health and wellness and different sort of methods of improving your health and different sort of product lines and so forth, but also with my coaching, man. Coaching is picking up a little bit, and so I've got a lot of people I'm trying to get squared away with my kicking coaching. So a lot of things happening, but today I'm going to talk about proactive wellness. I think that we've spent a lot of time on mental approaches to things in everyday life, and just things that I've learned throughout my journey of kicking that have kind of assisted my overall life after football, my actual big boy career, because football was a game. But I'm definitely passionate about health and wellness, and I definitely want people to understand that there is a better way. I believe that there's a lot of unhealthy people in this country. I would say world, but that's not true, because other countries do a much better job of providing good quality nutrients as their food sources, and we here in the United States are too greedy. We've got a government, we've got the FDA, we've got all kinds of different organizations that want to line their pockets, and there's no profits on healthy people. So they want to, and again, this is my opinion. You can fight me all day long, but you just look at labels, just compare labels between our country and other countries on the same product. I just saw something on McDonald's fries today, and I will never, and I haven't for God, I don't know how long I haven't had. It's been since I've had a McDonald's French fry, but I will never eat those. That's disgusting. There's like 17 different ingredients in a French fry, in McDonald's French fry. So and again, I personally believe, again, we can debate this if you want to at another time, whatever. But my point is, I personally believe that there's ingredients, there's things that are put into our food sources that clearly are not healthy for us. They're chemicals. They're things that in the long term make us very unhealthy, which lines the pockets of big pharma, because that's the thing is people always go to big pharma. I just need to see my doctor. Well, clearly the doctor's going to recommend or prescribe you a pill for your ailment, your issue, whatever you're dealing with. And a lot of times clearly they get a cut of that, and so it's an incentive for doctors to prescribe medications for people that stem from unhealthy diets, very, very poor diets that we're consuming, and it's kind of like they got our hands tied. You go to your local grocery store, and you buy food from even the produce. You think, oh, this is fruits and vegetables. I want to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Next thing you know, you don't realize that all the chemicals that were put on. Have you ever tried to, for example, take an apple that you buy at your local grocery store? I'm not referring to like Fresh Market and things like that. They say they're organic, which I'm learning that they're not necessarily organic. But just go to your local grocery store, buy a couple of apples, and kind of scrape the apple. Like, you can clean it all you want, right? Clean it with soap, water, whatever you want to clean it with. You take a sharp knife and just kind of edge the outside layer of the apple, and you'll see that there's some material on this, almost like a wax. Like, what the heck are you eating? What's in that wax? What is it? So our government wants to do things like that. So without further ado, I want to show you guys a little message from our sponsor, which happens to be 3 International, which I'll be talking about. I'll talk about the reasons why we are unhealthy. I'll talk about the reasons how we can become healthier, we'll say, and multiple different avenues of that. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
At 3, we want to give you the true health benefits that you're paying for, something you can feel and see a difference quickly. Each product is packed with powerful plant-based nutrients that are combined through a proprietary curation process and then infused with innovative cellular absorption technologies to ensure the nutrients absorb into the cells for maximum wellness. The quality and effectiveness of our life-changing products is evident by their approval to be included in the well-known Prescriber's Digital Reference, or PDR. PDR has been a valuable resource to the medical doctors and providers in the healthcare community for decades. Our products are GMO-free, clinically studied, and third-party tested, all designed to support health and proactive wellness for everyone.
So welcome back. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about health and wellness and how to achieve that. I've talked about my fitness journey where I've gone in some holes with that with regards to being lazy and getting a little bit overweight and not feeling good. And I often wonder what it feels like, honestly, for people who have always been unhealthy, maybe overweight. I sometimes I think that I struggle on days. I'm tired, I'm beat down or whatever, but I wonder, how those kind of people feel. And I'm not judging whatsoever. It's just, again, I mentioned before the break that we're kind of forced. Our hands are tied with the foods that we're provided. And I think there's a lot of money for people with ungrateful intentions, really. They just, money is very important for people. And I think it gets a little bit too crazy when it comes to control and having control over what humans and I always wonder, you hear about all these things and you wonder, like, man, why are people dying after the COVID shots and things like that? I'm hearing them, and again, fight me all day long, all you want, but there's been a lot of things coming out recently that your mainstream media won't be talking about. And so I think there's a lot of incentive for companies to make us unhealthy. And, it's a shame where it comes down to, that money is more important than our actual health. I spent a little bit of time in Australia, and I can tell you, they don't sell, eggs like they do here. Like, the manufacturer, not like the eggs are manufactured, but the way they're made, and, the chickens are all cooped up, and they actually sell eggs in their local grocery store. It's not a specialty store. It's their local grocery store. The beef is even, farm raised and grass fed. All of it. They won't sell anything that, where the cows have been injected or there's chemicals anywhere around those cows. Same thing with chickens. They're free range chickens. And so you're getting much more, benefit from the foods in different countries. And I think that it's kind of a shame where the money becomes more important. So we are trying to fight that. I'm always looking for the best way to, become healthier and kind of learn a little bit about, the things that we're eating and what makes us operate optimally, what gets us into homeostasis. And so, homeostasis is just a fancy way of saying our natural well-being, the way we're supposed to be, the way we're supposed to be on this earth without all the pollutants and toxins and lifestyles and the things that we're eating, of course. So we're supposed to feel better and be naturally better. And we're not, as a society, in the United States. I think that there's a lot of unhealthy people. And when you look at big pharma, you look at the kind of pills that they have for all these ailments. There's always a pill for the side effect from that pill, and the side effect from the pill that you just got from that new pill that has a new side effect. And so it's just a revolving cycle of pills for side effects. And so, yeah, I understand doctors are important, but I don't really necessarily agree with the type of treatment sometimes that they're giving people, because it becomes an ongoing life changing and life, threatening type of thing, where you're constantly now from this day forward having to be on all this medication just to, maintain. Try not to be too, unhealthy, and they're trying to fix the problems, but these other problems start to persist. And so I always refer to proactive wellness, and especially with three, as like back in the day, you consider a remedy. What do you consider a remedy? A remedy is something, in my opinion, that you find that's natural, that you would never hear of. Put honey and cinnamon together. I don't know what that would do or whatever. But my point is that there's a lot of things that are remedies that were natural remedies that can actually heal things, like they did back in the day before they had big pharma, before they had pills and chemicals that treated people. And so when we used to treat ourselves back in the day, I know it was a lot more natural than it is now. I know that, for a fact that like a lot of the vitamins on the marketplace today, or in the marketplace today, a lot of them are synthetically made. So you think of, like, you buy a multivitamin from Costco or wherever, and it's, they're cheap because they can sell a ton of them. And the thing is, they're synthetically made. They're, the big pharma and these supplements used to be made just by plants. It used to be plant-based material that we're making these supplements. The vitamins and minerals and things like that were all naturally made. Well, I think back in the 60s, they discovered that they can actually start making them synthetically. And so they did. But the thing is, the problem is that they're not exactly what the body recognizes as a true vitamin. Vitamin B, it's like, wait, the body gets this vitamin B in the body, and if it's a synthetically made vitamin B, it can, absorb it, maybe use it a little bit, but it's like, it doesn't recognize it. It's like, it's not exactly perfect. It's close, but it's not perfect. So in some cases, there can be, deathly sort of, issues with that. You can have long-term really bad effects from consuming synthetic vitamins. And I'm learning this from doctors who know this kind of stuff that aren't really necessarily on that big pharma train. And so that's where, 3 International, that's really one of the things that intrigued me about it, is because of the fact that we have all natural plant-based products. They're very, very high in phytonutrients. If you consider your daily diet, just go back and keep track of what you've eaten on a daily basis. And, we're all busy. It's kind of it's very convenient that, of course, they've made foods very convenient for us nowadays too, because they have fast food and they have all these companies, again, for profit, that capitalize on us being, wanting convenience for our food sources. And of course, it's all for profit. So they want to make them as cheap as possible. And when you get products that are not very, very, high quality, they're going to be cheap. And so we're kind of stuck. That's why I keep saying our hands are tied. We're all busy as society, and we're all having to eat on the run. And if you going back to my point, if you go back and look at, like, the daily intake that you had of food that day, and kind of think about what it was that you ate that day, of the types of foods that you ate, you went to a fast food, but you went to a sub place. Yes, there might be some phytonutrients and some fruits and vegetables that are on the sub itself, but a lot of people don't even put vegetables. It's like the meatball sub with all the sauces and, all the fixins that aren't really that great for you anyways. But you take it a step further in a negative sense, where you go to, McDonald's again, for example. You go to McDonald's and there's zero phytonutrients. Okay, phytonutrients are meant to heal and maintain a healthy body. If what you're consuming has zero phytonutrients, you are doing absolutely nothing. They're empty calories to begin with, because all they're doing is just, sitting in your gut and not doing much. They might be used for energy, clearly, but you're getting a lot of junk that does not provide any sort of maintenance and repair that your body is graciously asking for. We live in an environment where we damage our bodies on a daily basis, a lot of toxins, and we need these phytonutrients and molecules that are designed to get rid of things like that and just to keep us healthy. And so that's where 3 fits in. I've always thought that we need to supplement anyways, because I don't, think that our food sources are that great. They're not very, very, rich in vitamins and minerals, and we have to supplement for those because of our diet. And again, going back to our hands are tied, where we got to eat what we have access to, and that's why it's that important to supplement. But you take it a step further and you think about the supplement market. You think, oh, I've taken these vitamins from Costco, and I'm doing my omega-3s from Costco, and all these, Walmart's got these, and Walgreens, and all these places have these over-the-counter, supplements that can be synthetically made. But another step would be that the fact that they're not absorbing. And if you look at research and look at absorption rate or bioavailability in a lot of the products we're consuming in the regular marketplace, it's 10 to 15% absorption rate. Their bioavailability is not good at all. And so you can kind of feel like, a classic example, you take what you think is a strong multivitamin, and you go to the bathroom a couple hours later and you look at how bright yellow the water is in the toilet. And you're like, wow, that was a strong vitamin. Actually, no, it wasn't. It's very weak because you're looking at it. It's in the toilet. It went right through your body. It did not absorb. And so that's where, again, 3 fits in, because this company 3, we are the only company in the world that has multiple cellular delivery absorption technologies. Okay. So what I mean by that, I know it's a fancy term and all that, but it's basically like, for example, liposomal. Liposomal's been around. Liposomal delivery. It's a method. I say technology is not, it is a technology, but it's not something that's electric, or it's not a technology that's in your body. It's just a type of method that allows for the molecule to be absorbed as it should. And so in our gut, we have a lot of acids and things like that will eat up a lot of stuff. Well, many years ago, the government actually patented this liposomal technology. It was actually used originally for cancer treatments. Whatever they were giving people back then, still to this day probably, they added this liposomal delivery method, we'll call it, to the cancer treatment. And basically, it's like a fatty bubble that encapsulates the molecules and keeps the molecule safe, and it allows it to go through the gut, and then it gets, of course, into the intestines, where at that point it's actually absorbed into the bloodstream, of course. And so, in other words, it's bypassing the gut through liposomal, and it's able to go into our bloodstream and be absorbed by our cells. Or I say it's, but there's a lot of molecules. Molecules come in different shapes, sizes, and characteristics. And so that's where another area where 3 fits in, is the fact that we use all these different delivery technologies. And you say, why so many? Well, we use 12. 10 of them are exclusive to our company. That's why I say no one in the world is doing what we're doing. So with regards to that, you have a lot of different molecules with a lot of different shapes, sizes, and characteristics. And so you have to cater to their needs, really. So really, enzyme micronization is another one that's open to public. Oh, I really didn't finish the story about the liposomal, but liposomal is actually open to the public now, because 33 years ago is when it was patented for 30 years by the government, right? Well, that patent has expired, and now companies are actually using liposomal. Well, those are two, liposomal and enzyme micronization are two of the 12 that we use, but the other 10 are exclusive to our company because we have the patents on them. So no other company can do what we're doing. And so, we got, different types of methods where we're getting molecules that are large. Well, the large ones like collagen, a very large molecule, and enzyme micronization is one of the few that we use in their collagen product, of course. But there's a lot of different molecules in our products that need help in absorption. They need to be, water soluble if they're not. So we have the technology to do that. So really, where I'm going with this is the fact that not only are the products, the product line really that we offer, they're very highly rich in phytonutrient, because they come from all plant-based. Okay, all of our products are plant-based. But you'd say, well, okay, great, you're eating these plants, and these plants, the phytonutrients that come from these plants. Well, I wouldn't want to, consume phytonutrients from plants that are grown on crops that have had chemicals thrown on them. Right. So there's that. Right. So let's take it a step further. Where we get the materials, for the plant materials for our products, is, in places in around the earth that where plants can grow readily available. There, as far as the nutrient rich soil, close to the equator, where the sun is very, very good, and plants can really thrive in those environments. And the nutrients and the phytonutrients and the molecules that are developed and grown through those plants are high quality because of where they're grown from. We actually have a medicinal research and plant center. It's actually a farm in the northern jungles of Thailand, where the soil is untouched. And so the nutrients in the soil are incredible. And plus the sun and the kind of the weather that's there, it's perfect environment for these plants to grow. And so we use these plant material for our products. And so when you think of all the benefits from consuming our products, you add the delivery technologies to them, the bioavailability. We have clinical studies to show that our products are absorbing at rates up to 95%. Remember, I told you that most supplements and most products on the marketplace, supplement products, do not absorb real well, and they're usually around 10 to 15% absorption rate or bioavailability. So ours are much better than that. Now they're all not at 95%, but they're a heck of a lot better than 10 or 15%. I can promise you that. So going back to the point about the remedies, I want to heal and maintain my body using, supplements and phytonutrients and quality material that actually does what it's supposed to do. And if you're consuming those over the counter, supplements from Costco and Walgreens and all those places, you're not really getting what you think you're getting. And so I'm living proof of that too. As an NFL player, during the time I played, had all kinds of stuff thrown at me, all kinds of different, remedies for everything, the magnetic thing. I had, supplements, I had protein drinks and shakes and things like that. And again, I never really felt anything from them. And when I joined this company, when I started taking these products, which has been more than two years ago, March 30th of 2023, to be exact. At that time, I was taking these products, and of course, throughout those 2 years, I've noticed a difference. I don't take Advil anymore. We have an anti-inflammatory product called Revive that has taken up the place of Advil. And again, nothing natural, what I thought was natural back in the day. Like, hey, I want to take something. I don't want to take Advil all this time. And so if somebody recommend some sort of natural remedy, what they thought was going to work for me to get off Advil, it didn't work. Now, so that's my living proof is the fact that after 35 plus years of taking Advil for my lower back, I had 4 back surgeries, so my back is not in great shape. I actually feel pretty good. I feel really good, actually, to be honest with you. I do all kinds of workouts. I'm doing boxing the last 11 years, 12 years. That's primarily for me being in shape, but I'm working out at, F45. I'm doing other stuff like that. So with 4 back surgeries, but my point really is the fact that the Revive and the epigenetics properties of that, I'll cover that in a minute. I believe that those got me off of taking Advil, because I have not touched an Advil in over 2 years, since March 30th of 2023. So I'm incredibly happy about that. And not only me, we're a part of a testimony thread on WhatsApp, and these are people who are taking the products and they're part of the business, opportunity and things like that. And so they definitely are not on that. They're not sharing testimonies on that thread to try to sell us to sell anything to us, because they're a part of us as well. So we're all in the same boat, right? So they're just ecstatic about the things that they're feeling, taking these products. And so we have diabetics. I've seen a bunch of testimonies from people who are diabetic, or their family member was diabetic, or what it was. See, they're taking our products and have been really consistent about taking our 6 proactive wellness products on a daily basis. They go and get their blood work done, and the doctor comes in and says, scratching his head like, wow, your numbers are great. What are you doing? What are you doing differently? Or you taking are you taking a different medication? Or what? And of course we can just say, the person will just say, doctor, the only thing I'm doing differently is I'm taking these proactive wellness supplements. And oh, by the way, you can check them out in the physician's desk reference guide. It's actually called the prescriber's digital reference, but that's a huge deal. That's another thing I'm definitely going to mention, because that adds instant credibility. Any product. Now, again, keep in mind, 3 International is a proactive wellness nutraceutical company. We are not pharmaceutical. We don't make our products from chemicals. We're not pharmacies. We're not pharmaceutical. So we are nutraceutical, which means mostly plant-based, if not all plant-based. And we are in that guide. All of our proactive wellness products, including one skincare product, believe it or not, is in that guide. If you have a product as a company listed and you've gone through all the red tape and jumped through all the hoops and done everything that the PDR requires, because that's really what they were designed to do. I think back in the 40s, sometimes I think that the PDR was discovered or kind of created. The organization was created because doctors were having a hard time trying to do the due diligence on the pharmaceutical products that were hitting the market, because a lot of these products were hitting the market pretty fast, and they're like, I want to try these products for my patient, but I don't know if it's going to be good or bad for them. And so they had to do a lot of legwork in figuring out whether these products are going to help their patient or not. And clearly they don't want to kill their patient. So that's one of the things that the PDR does. Is it does basically, that's what it really does, is it does all the vetting for the doctor. So if any product that's in the PDR every doctor in the world knows that if the product's in that book, it's been vetted. And of course, it'll tell the side effects. It'll say everything about, not all of them are that safe and effective, meaning some of the pharmaceutical drugs clearly have side effects. But for many, many years, up until the last 10 years or so, all the products and companies that have those products in that guide have been pharmaceutical products. In the last 10 years or so, they've started to add nutraceutical products and companies because they've discovered that they are actually kind of more or less medicinal. So any product in that PDR can really more or less be labeled as medicinal. Okay, that's a big deal because now you're thinking that plant material, these all plant-based products from 3 International are actually medicinal and they work. Yes, I'm actually telling you that, because that's the other thing I was skeptical of too, because of all the times I had tried what I thought was plant-based. And, oh, you try these, it should work, and nothing worked. And so again, the absorption, delivery technologies that we use, that weren't in those, of course. So I know that maybe the absorption had something to do with it. Maybe they were good quality products, but the absorption, methods were not in it. So the nice high quality nutrients and molecules that are going in my system were just going out of my system because the absorption rate wasn't there. So I'm here to tell you that this company has a lot of great qualities about the products. We are literally changing lives, and I don't hesitate to say that because I know it's true. So, and thinking about the epigenetics properties, which I mentioned I was going to talk about, I had to learn what epigenetics was. Epigenetics is basically the up and down regulation, the turning on or turning off certain genes in our bodies. We did an epigenetics study. It was in vitro, of course, but a company out of New Zealand charged us about $40,000 to do this test twice, actually, because the first time we actually didn't believe the results because they looked like they're too good to be true. But they did the test again, and they discovered those were legitimate results. And what they discovered was 4 of our 6 proactive wellness products. Those were the only 4 that would affect the epigenetics on the genes that we tested. Those did affect the genes in a very, very positive way. And what I mean by that is they turned on genes that need to be upregulated, okay, or upregulated those genes, and then turned down or downregulated the genes that need to be downregulated. For example, IL-6 is interleukin 6 is a gene it's an inflammatory gene. It's very, very powerful in the body. Okay. And NFKB is another one that's very, very powerful in the body. And what our products showed through this test was that they downregulated those genes quite significantly. And as a matter of fact, our antioxidant, ironically, weird, our antioxidant product of all products actually downregulated the IL-6 gene 1,250%. And so my personal belief is the fact that, yes, that Revive product that I mentioned, that was also in the study too, and that showed that it was decreasing inflammation. But I personally believe that, the Revive, yes, helps with inflammation or decreasing inflammation, but also the epigenetics properties of all the products that we tested and that I'm consuming are affecting the epigenetics. And let me take it a little step further. Remember, I was mentioning the diabetics that are getting off of their insulin and medication that they've had to take all their lives, really, for the most part, to maintain, not cure, but maintain their diabetes. Well, there is a certain gene in our body. You probably have heard all about it. I'm not sure if you know it's a gene or not, the GLP-1. You've heard about all these ads about GLP-1 shots and things like that. Well, GLP-1 is a gene, and I'm sure the shots are affecting the GLP-1. I don't know about how well, certain products, of course. I'm actually dealing with another company right now that I'm able to talk to people about GLP-1 and NAD plus and Somorelin and all kinds of cool things that increase testosterone. And that'll be on another episode, I promise. But I just started a week ago, and I've already noticed a difference in the product. So, but they're more homeopathic. They're basically more healthy. They're not like your Ozempics. Those have a lot of things in it. They're not good. They're actually hurting a lot of people. And I've seen issues with that. So again, I'm not going to talk about that. But with regards to the GLP-1 gene and what our products showed that they upregulated that gene. That gene is responsible for blood sugar levels and insulin levels in the body. And so it regulates those levels at a natural rate. Okay. So if you can upregulate that gene and make it more effective in the body, you're going to be able to regulate insulin levels and blood sugar levels in the body much better, more naturally than you would if that gene was downregulated. And so that study showed that the epigenetic study showed that we are upregulating those products are upregulating that GLP-1 gene. So I can go on and on and on forever with regards to some great things about these products, but I'm here to tell you that I'm feeling very confident because I'm consuming all plant-based products on a daily basis, and I'm feeling naturally a lot better. Homeostasis. I feel comfortable. Of course, I mentioned about the toxins. There's a lot of ways that we cannot avoid toxins. Now, don't get me started with this whole chemtrail stuff. And for those of you that don't think it's a thing, you got to think again. Okay, I've done research on it. I've seen the things. I even have friends who told me that they have friends that were pilots that were literally spraying this stuff out of their jets. Okay, I know it's a thing. Okay, and in those, there's a lot of chemicals that are floating down, and then we are literally breathing them. Okay, so fight me all day long if you want, but I can promise you that, again, it's the government, it's all these climate change activists, and in this concept. Bill Gates is even involved. There's a lot of people involved in controlling the weather, and they're going to try to dim the sun. Well, in the process of dimming the sun with all these chemicals, aluminum being one of them, and minerals, of course. Aluminum is not great in the form it's in when it's coming down from those chemicals, or from those jets. But my point is that we can't avoid them, and so we need, of course, we have a detox product called Purify, and so I take that on a daily basis. We have an immune product that I take on a daily basis. I don't just take it when I'm sick. I take it every single day. Guess what? To keep my immune system strong, to keep the bad bacteria from communicating in my body and getting big and strong and more effective, and then making me sick. We have a technology in that product called quorum sensing. Okay, it's actually quorum sensing inhibition. So what it does is it cuts off the communication between the bad bacteria. Therefore, it keeps you healthy. It keeps you from the bad bacteria from taking over in the gut. So there's a lot of great things and great qualities that we have, and a lot of, like, going back to the toxins, of course, and things we eat. A lot of times we can't avoid some of the toxins. We have to eat what we have access to, and a lot of times the foods that we have access to can be full of chemicals, and the people don't realize this. And again, it's very quiet, clearly, because the government and people involved in this stuff don't want you to know that they're purposely trying to make you sick. Again, fight me all day long. I can show you all kinds of information about this. Okay. The government is making us sick because there's no money in healthy people. Okay. And I don't understand how a person or an organization or, any sort of someone with decision-making, abilities at higher levels, our leaders, in whatever areas you want to talk about. But I don't understand how they sleep at night knowing that they're making people sick and they're profiting from it. I mean, that's insane. We live in a very evil world today because of that kind of stuff. So we got to combat it somehow. And I'm telling you, I have never in my life experienced the benefits from any sort of proactive wellness products until now, until 3 International stepped in my life, and I started taking these products. And so I'm definitely, there is a business side of it, but I'm not here to sell you on that. I'm here to make you aware that there are products out there. I'm obviously biased to this one, 3 International, but I can promise you will feel better taking these products because of what they're doing. Again, I've always thought I was, a pretty healthy person, and maybe, that was another justification of me saying that I didn't ever feel anything different from the products I was taking. But I'm feeling difference. I'm feeling a lot of differences from these products, and I'm still just as healthy as I was before, probably more healthier, clearly, now that I'm taking these products. But if I'm a healthy person and I'm feeling differences in these products, I know they're working because I never experienced any differences in these other ones. So please take my word for it that these products are legit, and it's not just some gimmick, game. This is a very legitimate company. We are in 15 countries. We've done over $200 million in sales worldwide in just over, actually less than 2 years. Those were the numbers at the 2-year mark. And so we're a company that's making waves in the proactive wellness industry, and we have the proof to show it. We are the only company in the PDR that has only nutraceutical company in the PDR that has all of our products, all of our proactive wellness products, in the PDR. And going back to that skincare line, we have one of our 4 products in the skincare line, Visage Super Serum, is actually in the PDR because it does have medicinal values to it, because it is the world's first true neurocosmetic, which connects the skin to the brain. It actually really it turns on those neurotransmitters that release, the serotonin, dopamine, and also NAD plus as well. It increases NAD plus production in the body. So there's a lot of great qualities. Again, I could go on forever, but we've gone on quite a bit on this episode. So I definitely want to make sure that you guys are aware that there are products out there. There are solutions to your ailments, your issues, your health issues you might be having. Now, again, I can't say that these products are going to cure anything, but I can guarantee. I don't say guarantee. There's a good chance that they will help you. Okay, they will help you in your overall everyday life. These 6 products were created to take together as a system, and all of these products are listed in the PDR, and I can't emphasize that enough. You can go to your doctor and tell them, hey, I want you to give me your opinion about these products. Again, maybe a little bit of an issue with the doctor, because now if you start taking these products because of what he's told you, there's no money for the pharmaceutical drugs that he was recommending or prescribing you in the past. So we're kind of in a rock in a hard place there, because now the doctors are kind of like saying, and I can promise you, there's a lot more doctors coming out now and kind of, seeing the light. Like, man, after all these years, I've been prescribing all these pharmaceuticals. Now we're discovering that they're not doing very well for these patients, and creating more issues and things like that. And so I think there's going to be a huge difference in the proactive wellness space with regards to what people are going to want to see and hear and consume and know about. I know that Bobby Kennedy, when he got into office, he's already making waves and he's upsetting a lot of people. Well, he's upsetting a lot of people because they're going to be losing money because of what he's shutting down. But here's the thing: we're going to get better health out of it because we've been poisoned all this time. And so I think it's a great thing. And again, thinking about the business opportunity with this 3 International, we are at the right place at the right time, because if you think about it, COVID happened and everyone's like looking for ways to, stay healthy and all that stuff. Well, also what happened was the fact that, the vaccines, and now we're kind of discovering, well, I've known for a long time, the mainstream public didn't know a lot of things about autism and stuff like that with vaccines. And again, fight me all day long, but it's proven. They're showing, again, depends on the science. That was another thing about this whole trust the science crap. And I'll say it because back in the day when COVID was around and they're banning ivermectin, and they say, oh, trust the science. Ivermectin is just it's a horse, pet paste that, it's a dewormer for horse and dogs. No, ivermectin's been around for 60 years. It's approved by the FDA. It's safe and effective. It works. Why would you be banning ivermectin? You figure it out. I don't know. But my point is that there's a lot of evil things going on right now in the world today. And I'm telling you that we have to be proactive, no pun intended, but we have to understand what we have to do to make ourselves live longer and combat this junk that's out there, and the reasons why these people are lining their pockets based on our poor health. Okay, so with that said, I know it's kind of a downer, but just know that there's things out there. There's remedies. 3 Proactive Wellness, 3 International is, in my opinion, an incredible remedy for overall health issues and ailments. Yes, there's certain issues that we clearly can't have, help. But my point is, if you consume these products on a daily basis, your body will thank you, because it's natural, plant-based, phytonutrient-rich products and molecules that are actually absorbing and getting into the system and healing the body, maintaining homeostasis and healing the body. So with that said, I hope you guys learned a little bit today, and hope you trust me and know and trust what I'm saying to you. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm providing information for you to look at and become a healthier person. And again, maybe it's just going to replace the supplements you're taking now. I've run into that as well. So I can promise you they're a lot better. These products are a lot better than probably, more than likely, the supplements you're taking. Could be wrong, but I'll leave it at that. So with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing Monday night and the rest of your week. And we'll definitely see you back next Monday night at 5:30. God bless.
Thank you for watching Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.